into the crux of today's topic because we're all board gamers.
Yeah.
It's safe to say we're all board gamers here. Some like for pen and paper, some more like crazy, let's stab each other back party games, some like drinking games, and some like games where clothes come off.
I like Monopoly.
Kevin! I'm making a subsidiary one. So, in our many adventures, we have seen 3D printing becoming like the next thing for board games. Pocky and I have seen plenty of it, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
So we wanted to talk about how that's coming along and evolving, and it turns out that it's not.
Yep. And
we approached all sorts of people that did this that we've contacted, and they've all kind of put it on the back burner because they're just like, you know what? It's not working. So today we're going to talk about the failure of 3D printing in board game.
So do you want me to start?
First off, I want you to tell people about the amazing people that we've met in the past.
Okay, so in the past we've met a gentleman who was making a zombie apocalypse that actually could go for any like post-apocalyptic Fallout.
It's called Necrovirus.
Necrovirus. That was a lot of fun. There was one where he made all the pieces for board games that you don't have pieces for, like darn it, like
all
the Mayfair games and stuff like that. Yeah.
There's also a place out there called like Open Board Game, and they used to have, it was an open source project where people could add and manipulate to it as they needed to.
Oh, nice.
And there's also this group called Ill-Gotten Games that did like stuff you carry around in your pocket and throw out and play. And so there were all of these people out there. So why do you think it did not catch on?
And everyone looks at me, and the answer is simple.
Captain Negative.
And the answer is simple because 3D printing did.
Yeah.
3D. Okay. First off, call back to one of our old friends, Kim. Not she's old, just one of her friends, Kim. She owns one of these things. The thing spends as much time working as it does waiting for parts to make it work again. They're way too brittle. The get the spindle costs more money. If you can't get it to work, if you don't know how to solder, if you don't know how to do the things to make that thing fix again, you have to send it back out. That means you have to get a crate, you have to pack it all in, and you have to send it off.
Oh, wow.
Also, you have to make sure that nothing moves that table. So if you have kids, or you have pets, or you have a Jeffrey Lord who's just running around in like a fur coat, cleaning out fridges at random, you know what? Your 3D printing gadget's going to go up the head. That's if the printer itself doesn't mess up.
That's if your printer doesn't decide it's going to go.
Well, Chris Lover has a 3D printer at his work that they have no problem with. It's a...
Yeah, but you're also talking
but
about
that's
the heart
probably,
of Dell.
I mean, look where he's working.
No,
that's probably top of the line, right?
It's MakerBot.
Right.
Oh, okay.
But
it's also one everybody can buy.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
also
you can get the 3D printers over at Barnes and Noble and everything.
Right.
Well, but Joe, who's going to be on our Dragon Ball Z show, he's got a 3D printer, and he's been nice enough to 3D print a couple of my prop pieces. Like he made my Harley Quinn gun, and those things are so slow.
They're slow because, I don't think there's a way to actually speed it up. But I think the other aspect is when you're looking at the 3D printing, you're dealing with a very specific type of gamer, which is the modelers, like the Warhammer and the other miniatures games. And everybody likes that, so it's a lot of work to try to put the game together. Do you think that could be an aspect of it?
It could be,
It
but
could.
Price.
Also at the same time, like, I can buy a 3D modeling machine, or I can buy a box of Reaper. I can go to Reaper Miniatures. I can go to, hell, there's a company that already does it. They do the ones for like Warhammer and War Machine. Hero Quest. I can get characters made using certain video games. I mean, unless I'm super into like making my own game, at that point I should be talking to someone doing it professionally anyway, because if I'm looking at that level. But if you're talking about the average person, or even like a slightly more hardcore gamer, no, you're going to go with something else that's already made.
But I think the way it's going now, one of the options I thought is, because like you can go to Hackerspace and use a 3D printer, someone with a 3D printer, tech shops, they could have done, comic book stores could have bought 3D printers and offered to print these games and sell them that way. Because let's take Necrovirus for instance. That was amazingly 3D printed. That was an amazing game. But it couldn't catch on because literally, like, it printed every single block and every single thing, and that would take a long time. But you know what? The game was really fun, and it looked really good.
It did, but again, look how big that board was. Like, even if I wanted that board, let's say I go to Dragon Slayer, you're right. Like, Dragon Slayer buys a 3D printing machine, or like three 3D printing machines.
That's a tongue twister.
3D printing.
You buy 3 of them, and I'm using one to make that board game. That is a week. That thing's going to take a week to make it. If not one of them fails, it's going to take a week.
But you're making it out like all 3D machines are bad. I know they're not all bad.
They're not all bad, but it is just the calculations of doing business.
And you know what,
Jeffrey, your thoughts?
Well, 3D printing and everything is actually pretty new to me. I haven't really looked too much into it. But when I go to conventions and such, I've seen people, you can like go up and take a photo of yourself, or however your cosplay is, and then they can do it. I mean, it will take a while. It sounds like it's more time and patience, and giving me, I'm a very patient person. It sounds like a fun hobby if you can really get into it and such like that. The only thing I have a question about is the material to make 3D printing. Is that more expensive than the machine itself?
Not really, because I would buy spools for Kim, and it was like 10 to 15 bucks.
Oh, that's not too bad. I think actually, from what we're talking about, I really do wish that 3D printing would take off a little bit more. But those people who do 3D printing at conventions, please keep doing it, because I personally, and I'm sure there's plenty of other people that do really appreciate the amount of work and such, because you are a patient person to sit there and let that do that
Well,
thing.
you also have to finish it because it is very rough when it comes out.
Yes.
You've got to finish it.
That's
sand it
definitely
and
what I've
finish it.
heard.
Which Harley knows
It's
all about because you've
huge
done this stuff before.
Yes, one of my things, like I'm actually fixing to get a tech shop membership because I can use the 3D printing machines. I can use the laser etchers. Another thing, I have a theory of why it hasn't caught up yet, is because people are very, as a cosplayer and people that do commissions in my house, people are very, I want it in my hand the minute I hand you money. So
that is
that's
true.
a problem with comic book shops, is when they're printing it, people want to be able to walk in the store. They don't want to wait. They want to walk in the store, be able to pick it up off the shelf and go, okay, now I have my game.
You know, I think it'd be kind of cool if comic book shops start doing this, is that, they have a 3D printer and it's like, hey, you want this? We'll 3D print it for you. We'll clean it up and everything. You pay half now and you pay the half later when you get it, and bam.
Which would literally be about the cost of buying one of the big box board games right now, because it is cheaper.
Exactly.
It is cheaper to print it, and even if they charge labor just for finishing it, it's not really all that much work. But when I was sitting there thinking about the notes for the show, it hit me what I think the biggest reason is. I've got 3 shelves of board games, and everyone loves looking at them when they come to my house.
You do.
It drives me crazy when I can't fit the pieces in the box, like Aliens vs.
Oh,
Predator.
that makes me mad.
The Hunt
Wait,
Begins.
you have Alien vs. Predator?
The Hunt Begins.
We are so playing
The
it at
miniatures
birthday
don't
party.
fit in the box. We are, because it's the greatest game, and my brother bought me the Power Loader, and I think the Alien Queen's coming sometime. But there's no box, and we are all whores for our boxes and our cases and the way things look, because you can put it on a shelf. There's something different when you come over, oh, look at all these versions of Risk, as opposed to, hey, what's in that Tupperware box?
What's in that one?
Do you agree with me, Harley?
I totally agree. We're in the process of remodeling and cleaning our house, and we totally just realized how many board games we had.
Isn't it a great thing?
It is. I was going through, when I was doing my research for Red Dragon Inn, I looked over at our desk and I was like, holy crap, we have a lot of the same. Oh, wait, there's numbers on these. What do these mean?
That sounds like the same way with my family. We've been collecting board games since my parents were teenagers, and we keep stacking up, and we just don't have enough room for it. So eventually, we're actually starting to build some shelves in our house so we can actually just put the board games there, and whoever comes over, hey, let's play
Pocky.
this
all,
game.
all my board games are the big House on Haunted Hill
I love
and
that game.
the Dungeons and Dragons one and the
Yes.
Star Wars one where you control the miniatures and you
The
move
Imperial Assault.
Imperial Assault.
My brother has
I want-
the little X-wing one.
Oh.
Takes up so much space.
I want to get the zombie side one.
I really want Zombicide.
But it's like $100 and I don't really have the money.
And so,
Ooh.
you can go to the store, pay $100 for a pre-printed game, or you can get something custom that you can have fun with for about the same price if you 3D print it.
Right.
Probably a little less, but like I'm saying, you don't have that cool thing to put it in.
I know, I want to put...
But
Now,
here's oh, God, sorry.
I was like, I did have I was looking up solutions for our board games, because as much as I love my boxes, they do take up a lot of space.
They do.
So I did a little research, and if you have a little bit of wall space, I thought about taking a shadow box and sliding in the board game, taking a Ziploc and sliding all the little pieces and sliding in the back of the shadow box so I could hang it on the wall. So when my friends come over, you can see all the board games, and if you've got the cool little figures, you can stick
I
on
don't
top
know
of
what
them.
games you have that you could fit that in, because literally
Imperial Assault alone, I'm just thinking
it's
about that
huge.
one. Yeah.
It's got
It'd
so
be
many
a huge
pieces. The
box. It's
Alien
gonna be
vs.
so
Predator
cool.
board game weighs about 50 pounds because there's so many different tiles. The miniatures don't even fit in the box. Don't even
But
get me
that's the
started
fun
on that
part.
one. And
What about the Volcano Island one?
Fireball Island would not fit into a box because it's literally about this big, and you pull out the the
You have
vacuum formed
Fireball
island. I do.
I have Fireball Island. We are so
Wait,
playing.
okay,
We should
I
do
need to play
Fireball.
this.
We
The
should take
one
So-
thing I
Fireball
definitely
and
gotta
Fireball.
say though, just add is that the one thing I don't like about board games is that the boxes they come in after they're bulky and after years of use, the cardboard boxes start breaking. I have
Yes, but you still have those boxes and you'll tape them. You don't get that option.
I
with
use
3D
duct
printed
tape
board
like
game.
crazy.
I have one last thing I have to point out that well, it's not the last thing, but this is also the biggest, in my opinion, why companies were avoiding doing the 3D printing, and that is the same reason you don't give out a free MP3. It's just I was given a free MP3. Now Jeffrey has an MP3. Now Harley has an MP3. Now Gavin, these three didn't buy it. I did. I copied it. It's like I just bought this board game, and I'm going to give you guys the files to make the board game. And
Well,
that's
not all
good. That would
board
drive a game developer mad, which is you sold one copy of this game, but somehow 15 copies of this game now exist.
True, which that's our next topic to look at is like what would the future look like if 3D printed board games picked up? And you're right. How would they digitally copy protect that? I mean, would they handle it the way they do with digital movies you buy, or is there's a certain code that, for instance, let's take the like subscription model with like Adobe and stuff. You'd have to subscribe to that site. As long as you subscribe, you can download the pieces to it. So someone has to literally do it. So they would be able to tell if you're misusing it.
Yeah.
Well,
Good.
except the problem with that then is we're talking about a physical item.
It's true.
I mean, with Adobe, it's like, okay, why is this guy's one program showing up in 5 IPs in 3 different states?
It would be the same thing with downloading a digital file.
But if I give you a copy of it on a
It
thumb,
wouldn't work unless you were logged into the site.
I think it should work something like this. It's like, you get a computer game, there's a CD key, okay? But you have to log into a profile.
You can
and
play games off a CD key.
I'm just saying.
My
We're
problem-
talking about this is, put
My
in the
problem
CD
is
key. Put in the CD key, you log in, put in the CD key, that's all you can make is that one item, that's it. So you can't give it to multiple people, therefore the developer still makes money because they're like, hey, if that one person wants it too, they can't pirate it. They have to buy it individual.
CD key problem. Any torrent site, you can get a keylogger. You can
Yeah.
just download a
Hackers.
key.
We
Yeah.
live in a great digital age, don't we?
We do.
So I think what it really will boil down to is if 3D printing becomes a success, it will be off of items that aren't totally geek based. Like Kim makes props for her costumes. She made the one from what versus the Lords of Evil. What's it's a Nickelodeon. It's a Disney cartoon. What? Which one?
Star versus the Power.
Star versus the
Star
Power
versus
of Evil.
Power of Evil.
She made the one head for that using a 3D printer.
Can be
But as
made.
far as like gaming and stuff goes, that might get it regulated to like if you want to buy this, you go to Dragon's Lair and they'll print it for you,
Yeah.
or you
Yeah.
can go to Printed Shop or whatever it is in the future where 3D printing things.
I think that could work.
I think that really could work. I
But
think
I-
the comic book stores and such could really make a good profit off that. It's just, like I said, a time and patience and do some kind of payment plan or something. And also, if they back out and it's made, you still get
Sell it to the
that
next
money,
player.
or sell it to the next person.
Which brings us to the next part. Could it get past the modellist community, like the Warhammer community? Could it become a bigger thing? Like the people who did the Pocket one, it was just little tokens and hex tiles. It wasn't a whole lot. But most of them out there, you've seen it with me, they're really detailed, and you can paint them or you can leave them the way they are, but they do take some assembly.
People with the Labyrinth board game, I'm in a whole community online. Most of those, they 3D printed all the Labyrinth pieces, and I see people mod those things all the time, and they are gorgeously painted.
But not everybody does that.
And not everybody can.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have a steady hand.
And the answer to that is the answer is no, because the sort of person who would take the time and effort and the money, even if it's a small amount, like 100, the sort of person who would buy a Fantasy Flight video game is a very special type of person because they know the product they're buying. They are not the mom and pop who would go to Walmart and buy Monopoly. Even if
Could
they
you
did-
imagine custom printing your own Monopoly tokens?
Yes.
off
That
your
would be
database?
awesome.
God.
I
Like
want
they
to do a
could do
Harry
so
Potter
many-
Monopoly so bad.
But what I'm saying
Do an
is,
alien monopoly.
I don't think it's going to get past that. It's like the people who play Warhammer or War Machine. That community is that community, and they won't leave that community. Will 3D printing get
I
past them?
disagree. I think gamers can get out of their communities.
I do too.
I don't know anyone who's just so hardcore Warhammer they don't play anything else.
No, I'm not. You're asking if it go past the modeling community.
Yeah.
It's not going to go past the modeling community. I don't
Okay.
think because it's not.
Collectors.
Do you think bringing in modders that could mod it would, like they do like computer mods, but people who could mod it like they do the Labyrinth one and they do other things, do you think that could help bring it forward some?
I think it
Yes,
could.
because
Like,
I see people try and get on the board game community and go, hey, I saw you who paints these things. I just bought the game as a collector's piece. I'm not actually going to play it. I just wanted the pieces. Who mods these? Who's painting these? I will pay you $100 down.
Like if there was an easy way where, let's say Games Workshop got in the bandwagon and you could custom print your special leader of the Warhammer army with different heads and things and then print it yourself, I think that could actually kind of help it a lot.
it
But
could.
again, that's sticking with the modeling community. That's not getting outside of that community.
Well, it's like I'm starting to get into playing Warhammer Fantasy, and I
I'm
like
so
building.
sorry for you.
You know what? I'm just now
Building
starting
a
getting
life
into it. I'm
size
having
version.
fun. That's all that matters to my side.
40K all the way.
War
But basically,
Machine.
but what I'm basically saying is that I like making the models and such like that. But the painting is just like, man, that is a skill I do not have. And I think if people are able to do the 3D printing, and you do 3D printing, be like, bam, people who paint, yeah, we'll do that, and I'll do that for $50.
It's like, yeah, because when I'm trying to paint these things, I'm like, hang on, let me put my glasses on. Let me put another pair of bifocals on so I can see these things, and let me get a tiny paintbrush so I can do this.
See, to me, I actually enjoy that part because I play War Machine. I used to play War Machine, and like I turn on a podcast. It's like I'm listening to Kevin Smith talk about Liam Neeson, and I get to paint my stuff, and we're good.
Well, all I can say is that I hope that one day this is a trend that will catch on. But you know what trend would really want to see it catch on more?
I have a feeling it's going to be board games spawning from movies.
Yes. So that's right, Gavin. And it's just time for this week's 10 Things list, board game worthy movies.
I can't wait.
It's going to be good.
I think I like this talk of the apocalypse. This week's news.
All right,
Mostly,
so-
hold on. I
We're
didn't.
out of time.
I know.
Wrap this up. Be quick.
So my thing is I love people who tell me about the end of the world because I have literally heard about the end of the world since 1901 when I first read about the
You
Carolina.
weren't alive in
Wait
1901.
a minute. Hold on.
Vampire?
Yes. So in 1901, there was the Carolina end of the world cult. Literally, North Carolina, this cult, these people said the end of the world was going to happen. 1901.
My home state.
Right. Guess what? I'm still standing here. I'm standing right here, and the end of the world did happen.
All those tabloids do it every week.